What's up, peasants? Welcome back to the channel. Recently I had a poll and the Iceberg won by 62%. The Breaking Bad video will be made on Lunatic. Subscribe or I ban you. Anyway, today I'll be honing my inner Snook and making an Iceberg video. More specifically, my Iceberg. Made by the lovely fellows in the server, more specifically Jarrell Michael and Lumbago Curry. There are 5 tiers with the entries on each tier getting progressively more unknown, ranging from my pets to the darkest mysteries Duke Miser has ever known. Without anything else to say, let's get funky with it. Speaking of Snook, he will cover the first tier.
Hey, what's up, Duke fans? I'm Snook. I make Iceberg videos, and I'm a friend of Duke's, so I was gifted the privilege of covering Tier 1. Let's get into it. Tier 1. This tier will cover well-known facts about Duke and his channel that most casual fans will know, and starting off the tier is Luna. Luna the guinea pig is a central figure on Duke's channel. Guinea is of course the main one, but back to her sister. Luna is Duke's pet guinea pig that he's had for 3, almost 4 years. She has a big belly and is very fat. Duke used this to create some insane lore about her past. She is normal to the naked eye, but harbors deep secrets Duke calls the Luna lore. I'll save the horrors for another day and deeper down in the iceberg, but that's pretty much everything surrounding Luna. GTAB, otherwise known as Get That Ass Banned. This term comes from the infamous low tier god and translates to get that ass banned. This term had entered Duke's vocabulary when he first started streaming RDR2. Since then, it has become a staple in his streams. Every stream since that first one has had a moment where an ass was banned.
Get that ass banned. I don't want to see this shit again.
Breaking down. This one is referencing how much the term breaking down was used when Duke's shorts first started gaining traction. It started with Duke's gun and hat lore videos. If you binge these shorts, you can understand how repetitive this gets. Over time, this became an inside joke. Even Zonkers got in on it, with the breaking down Waxy's nipples. Other than a little inside joke, there's nothing much else here. The official Dukers, the old name of Duke's Discord server, and this really does deserve its own video, and I'll try to keep it short as most of the other entries originate from this humble abode. The server began as a little group of fellow RDR enjoyers and grew into what it is today, a server of children fighting for the golden moderator role. This single role has caused too many controversies to count onto one hand. It single-handedly increased the obesity epidemic here in the beloved states. Some of these incidents here will be listed on the Iceberg, and other than those incidents, the server overall is a jolly place that you should join. Just don't ask for admin or Joe will ban you personally. You shot Jed Calloway. This is an iconic moment from Duke's least favorite stream. He basically made a so-so impression of old Jimmy, and now ascended it onto a different level. It was remixed and parodied so much to the point that it came back full circle. Nowadays, it's a relic of the past. Gavin Miser. He was the average Duker until the day he wasn't. As with most British people, he managed to stay to himself until the beast was released, and we got these legendary moments. He started with an argument with fellow Duker My Dog Rules. This escalated and escalated until some pretty nasty stuff was said. Gavin was obviously banned, but what happened after solidified his presence in the server's history.
Hello everyone, you may know me as Gavin Miser on Discord. And I'd just like to humbly apologise for my actions yesterday on the server. I realise now that they were unacceptable. I said something that I probably shouldn't have said in retrospect. I just humbly apologise to everyone in the server. So, yeah.
With this, we were confused and not knowing what else to do. We let him back in. He was relatively passive for a while before deciding to dip his toes back into controversy. He decided to start beefing with another Duker. This time he targeted Desperado. They spent a good while arguing about the validity of religion, growing more and more hostile until both eventually were banned. Storybook ending. Lunacast. This is the collaborative channel between Waxy and Duke. They indulge in only the finest of conversations. They mostly interview guests, but they have had incidents recently and have welcomed the Zonkers crew on board, Mason and Mr. Loud. And as of right now, content has slowed due to being busy with their own lives. Dr. Doe and Family Guy. These are suggestions for future streams, and I will frankly not cover them. In case you don't know, Dr. Doe is a family-friendly game that Jarrell has already played and mastered, making my stance on it unnecessary, and Duke's stance unnecessary. And AI Family Guy is a rabbit hole Duke fell into when he was celebrating 13,000 subscribers. I was just admiring what technology has created for us. With that, we have finished Tier 1. We can now swim below the surface.
Thanks Snooky for covering Tier 1, but I can handle Tier 2. First entry being Mexican. If you'll tune into one of my streams, you'll most likely see a comment or two about me being Mexican. This simply refers to my ethnicity and the amount of jokes you all have thrown at me for it. I've been called burrito muncher, border hopper, and of course, brown ass hand. I don't mind it because I know most of you mean, well, excuse him. I can't exactly remember when I said it, but the second I mentioned I was a Javier person, it was fair game. Before you ask, no, I don't wear sombreros or ponchos. Luna hungers. With Luna being a big fatty, it only makes sense that she hungers. With the prophecy foretelling the earth will meet its end by her hand, or rather her teeth, we better start praying. In reality, this is an extension of the Luna lore, with Luna being the one that eats everything and anything. The other pets have their own unique quirks, but maybe I can cover those in a future Luna lore video. Head admin curse. This references more of that sweet Discord drama. Instead of random dukers, it was high-ranking officials. First, let me explain the mod power hierarchy, for lack of a better term. At the bottom is dukers, being average people with no mod abilities. Above them are normal moderators. These mods basically enforce basic rules and are the mall cops of the server. After them is head mod, which is self-explanatory. The head mod has the same abilities but can be promoted to admin. Speaking of admin, they are the next and are the ones that help set up channel/server events. Next up is head admin, the highest possible role that isn't the duke. Think of them as my right-hand man, the Hosea to my Dutch. The curse associated with this role comes from the very first head admin, Illuminate. This British man has quite the tale in the history of my channel. He started off helping me fix the channels and clean up the server, and to maximize his assistance I made him head admin. This term wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, as he ended up mod abusing and basically harassing the friend of a fellow mod. He would spam her asking for nude and called her a whore when she obviously declined. This catalyst earned him a ban and allowed way for the new head admin, one Tiziano/Bully Butcher. The thing with this Swiss man is he was asleep when the server was most active, meaning his status as head admin went mostly unnoticed. This was until he started demanding respect from everyone else. This went so far that he would ban people for telling yo mama jokes. So Tizzy definitely had some issues that were spilling into his personality online. Once he decided that demanding respect out of children was a bad idea, he decided to throw a tantrum in my DMs and dip. From that point, I saw that giving head admin to a random online wasn't going to work, so I gave it to my good friend Viper Blitzen. He's had the role for a while now and has been doing a good job of keeping the demons at bay, so I'd say the curse is broken. Fake dukes. This one right here brings me back to early summer. I was working with good old Papa Miser making my stacks, all the while I had fake dukes running around spamming slurs. Now the origin of these fake dukes is mostly unknown, but from what I know it is that I or a mod banned someone from the server for racism or something like that. From there this dude paid someone else to pretend to be me. This first faker didn't do anything except spam copy the hard R. He then confessed and pretended to be the homie, top British man. This next fake to me was actually a triple threat, as he pretended to be me, a mod named Sonic RPG, and our old friend Tizzy. This faker also didn't do much except drop some pretty amazing quotes. There were a few other fakes on Discord, but they didn't do anything other than post my videos and say I suck. So the danger level definitely dropped. TikTok has the biggest issue with fooks, as I say. The first fook that made a fake account and re-uploaded videos I won't even mind. He also since then seemed to have apologized. The rest of the fake dukes are accounts made to farm views and likes using my likeness. There are about 7 fake accounts, though the one with 1,000 followers is the most active. As of writing this, they seem to have started view botting, and yeah, this doesn't look good. If you have a TikTok, please report this account. I'd hate if someone was scammed on my behalf. Anyway, these fakers are just a product of growing an audience. My boys over at Zonkers have their own fakes, so just be mindful of the content you're consuming and use common sense when following these accounts. YouTube drama. This seems more dramatic than it actually is, no pun intended. The only YouTube drama I've ever been in is this little back and forth between Zonkers and Sean Easy. I've never been a fan of Sean, and this beef really showcased his abrasiveness. He's always been super condescending towards anyone that has less subs or anyone who even considers making a short, but my involvement in this beef is pretty minimal, as his main targets were Mason and Liam. The next beef moment ties back to my fake Duke situation. When I was live on stream, I started going off on a fake Duke. They threw BS allegations against me before I calmed down and ended stream. The final beef is also nothing too crazy, just a little back and forth between Soupy and I. I'll say this for a later tier though, as this story fits tier 3 better. Duke is ancient. The very first inside joke, and that's to do with my very, very old age. Before I revealed my age, people assumed I was in my 20s and at the very most, in my 30s. In reality, I am only 17, so quite the surprise. Even then, I was too old to these youngins. This joke ranged from calling me old to saying I was there helping Arthur commit crimes. This joke has since died out because everyone realized 17 isn't even that old. When this joke first started, I was like 16, so that didn't even make sense. I couldn't even legally play Red Dead 2, much yet be a beard-growing 45-year-old veteran. But there are a few times when this joke pops up and I get a good chuckle out of it. Looney Loser. Good old Looney, another one of my IRL friends. He's a staple in my streams. Occasionally we'll link up to hang out and run some classics. Black Ops 2 Zombies, TF2, and recently Mortal Kombat. These streams are a good time just as long as the chat isn't simping for Looney. Guys, he's a religious man. If you ain't wife material, you don't want it. He's also been featured in a few of my videos. He has his own channel, but it's pretty much dead due to his PC being a machine held together with dreams and chapstick. He's not active much, and when he is, he drops an occasional baller before saying I don't care. At the end of the day, he's still the homie, even if he doesn't participate in the weekly Discord beef session. Marcusi/Marusi. Yet another addition to the Luna lore, this time referring to my steeds in the Redemption games. The bloodline begins with the Iron Grey Warhorse known as Marusi I. The bloodline ends in 1914 with the Black Warhorse known as Marusi VIII. The horses in between don't really matter, but that's Marusi. The ones that matter are Marusi II, the White Arabian. The Leopard Appaloosa is Marusi III. The Blue Nakota is Marusi IV. The Rose Grey Arabian is Marusi V. And the rest of the horses are just random horses John owned between Red Dead 2 and Red Dead 1. Marcusi, on the other hand, is the Low Honor variant, whose bloodline begins with the reverse Dapple Thoroughbred with Marcusi I. Since I am still playing through Red Dead 1 as a Low Honor John, we'll have to see where the Marcusi bloodline ends. The origin of these names I can't exactly remember, but I think I know where they came from. Ever since I was a young miser, I always found the name Maurice funny, so I'm guessing I misspelled it when naming my horse and thus the names are born. Mark my words, if I ever get a horse IRL, I will be naming them Marusi. Waxy. Man, where do I begin with this? So Waxy is a fellow RDR2 YouTuber that I met during the summer with my early streams. Since then he's been the thorn in my side that I can't seem to get rid of. We've collabed so many times you can count it on one hand, and I've had 2 children together. Overall a great dude I'm glad I met, but there is another thing this entry could be referring to.
Hey! Show us your boobs.
How old are you, princess?
16, mister?
Yes.
How old are you really?
Nearly 13.
Yeah, Waxy is quite the oppressed Sigma. Now obviously these are jokes, but you can never be too sure. Either way, Random Flies is a big part of the Duke Miser channel, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Face reveal? Final entry on tier 2, and it's simply a request that you all have waited on for a while. The closest thing to a face reveal I've done is my Goofy 2K special, where you can see my gorgeous eyes. There has been a leak where in my drawing stream you can see the reflection off my phone. I've been called Brown McLovin since then. In terms of an actual face reveal, we'll just have to see what the future holds, my friends. With tier 2 done and a whole lot more entries ahead of us, we can dive deeper. Here in tier 3, the mysteries are just that tad bit unknown, but entry 1 is AH! This iconic holler is one of the sounds that can escape my golden pipes. I usually make this noise when something surprising happens in game or I get hurt. There are many iconic moments on stream where I get demolished and the only thing you hear is AUG. Why this is so low is anybody's guess, but perhaps it's due to the fact that Papa Miser. This is simply the name that I call my father. I don't usually talk about my family, but my father is the one I talk about the most. He's a strong family man that I've looked up to my whole life. I have quite a few stories about him, one being on this iceberg. The first time I really mentioned him on the channel was when I drew his truck for his birthday. I figured I might as well spread the love and allow you guys to wish him a happy birthday. Overall, I love my pops. And for those of you surprised I have a father, why? Recently I mentioned I was helping my dad move some furniture around on stream, and chat is full of, you have a dad? Wait, you aren't fatherless? Yes, my dad has been present my whole life. I do want to try getting my dad to play RDR one day, but we'll see when. He loves old westerns, so I think he'd love playing Red Dead 1. Illuminate. Now I've covered Illuminate's term as head admin already, but I haven't covered his activities post-ban. At first, things were sort of well, he mostly stayed inactive. That was until Butterbuns made a Minecraft realm. Personally, I never joined it, but it was a big deal. There would be long game night sessions in this realm. According to Butter, they stole Illuminate's secret loot. Illuminate, full of rage, killed Viper's animals and then started beefing in the real group chat on Discord. From here, nasty things were said before he left. The peculiar part of this statement is this. Illuminate put a picture of a dude hanging as Viper's Discord profile pic. Didn't even know about this until recently, so just wow. The final straw that broke the camel's back was in the same GC. He started going off on our friend My Dog Rules. Illuminate started dissing his dead relative, father I think, before we banned him for good. Since then he has stayed away and good riddance. Bully Butcher. Tiziano back at it for round 2, but unlike Illuminate there isn't much lore. A lot of it can be boiled down to Tizzy not getting the power trip he thirsted for and starts mod abusing. His first recorded tantrum was against Buddha during the head admin elections. There was the power vacuum left by Illuminate's first ban, meaning everyone was racing for that role. In the official votes, it was tied between Viper and Buddha, with Buddha winning in the end. Everything was good until that night. Tizzy decides to slide into my DMs and start whining about how he's put in more work and deserves the role more. I wish I could show you these DMs, but ever since he blocked me, the DMs have been deleted. I gave him the role because it was too late to deal with his nonsense. I figured he would be a better head admin to Illuminate, and I was pretty wrong. In the end, he just wasn't a right fit for the server, as half the chats are silly jokes. Enforcing a no joking policy will go as well as telling an alcoholic not to drink. This is a side note, but Tizzy banned everyone he could in my buddy Viper server, so yeah, he didn't take this all that well. Rockin' a cat's body N-word. A classic blunder that could truly happen to any one of us. Rock here was an OG and Tizzy's original target. He was the one that dropped the yo mama sex sim joke, so to say he was popular would be an understatement. Then the fateful day occurred. Somebody joined under the name Nate Hig. Obviously not a great name to have, so we asked him to change it. We had a little discussion, then Rock left this chat. This caused some major uproar and people were calling for Rock's demotion from head mod. He claimed it was a typo, but looking at a regular keyboard it's quite the distance. So unless you have sausage fingers, I fail to see how this was a typo. Now this isn't to say he meant to drop a hard R, as he never seemed like that kind of guy. DMs in the aftermath were emotional, so I don't think he meant any malice. Either way, he's been inactive for a few months now and another soul lost. Alright, so this is Future Duke about 2 days later. It turns out Fern faked the image, which is pretty bad. He gaslit Rock into thinking he said the N-word when he actually didn't. He ended up saying it later in DMs though, so I guess the point still stands. Let's move on. Various Discord dramas. This is so many things, so I'll cover the bigger ones. Recently we had a failed raid by John Marston is Taken. If you don't know or don't care, John Marston is Taken is a racist little kid that has a community on TikTok. About a month ago, some of his boys tried raiding my server, just end up getting immediately banned. One of them managed to get a few slurs off, but overall a good defense. Since then, he stayed away and thank goodness. Going further back, there was a rebellion one time. The Reyes here was Jimmy John Subs, and the cause was him losing the mod elections and butter rigging votes. I was informed when someone sent me a screenshot of the group chat, just casually called Rebellion. I couldn't find the original screenshot, so forgive me. Either way, this happened during my Sussman balling stream, so while I was hanging out with the homie Looney, I got my phone blowing up with Discord notifications. We were obviously too busy to deal with it, but the Rebellion caused Jimbo to be blacklisted from the staff team. Eventually, he left on his own, and who knows where he went, maybe making rebellion somewhere else. The next one I touched on earlier, but it's a religion debate that got a few goofies banned. Nothing here is too special, but it's just one of those things. Most of the Discord dramas are disagreements that balloon into huge arguments. For example, Lucas's little blow up. Yet another election story, but this time Lucas was annoyed that they were too short. The council split on defending him or arguing against him. This led Lucas to say that he hates everyone in the server and that they're all stupid. He would then ramble on to anyone that would listen. Lumbago, an unfortunate bystander, went off on Lucas, and I mean off. He did not let that slide. Anyway, this led to a few days of the server being very quiet and inactive. Since then we moved on, but yeah, drama seems to be natural in the server, but at the end of the day, it's just Discord. Duke's horniness. I'm gonna be airing myself out with this one, but it's on the Iceberg, so might as well cover it. Early in my channel, there was an inside joke that I was, smashing Sadie Adler. Sounds fucking nerdy now that I say it out loud, but a few golden tickets are these screenshots. I try to keep my jokes nice and clean for those jacks out there watching. Chinatown menu scare. This one was actually pretty recent and involves my 15k special. I showed off my den and then this I show a menu from a Chinese restaurant. I saw this menu when on vacation and the address was clear as day. Well, this led to people thinking I leaked my address or somewhere near my house. The second one is a valid concern, but the first one is just leaping to conclusions. Motherfuckers really thought I pulled a Jimmy McGill and was making my shorts out of the back of a restaurant. In reality, this place is like 5 hours away from my house, so it's not even close to where I live. I appreciate the concern, but the part that annoyed me about all this was the fact that I was driving home when I was getting spam pinged. Middle of traffic, my phone is buzzing like crazy. I assume Mama Miser was calling, so I'm trying to get my phone while making sure I don't crash. I look at my phone screen, and it's just 50 notifications from Discord. I'm sitting in my car dumbfounded. I just risked my life to check Discord. At the end of the day, it was fine, but holy moly. Panda Plays 206. This is a super throwback. Before I was Duke, I made videos under the name Panda Plays 206. These videos were your stereotypical bad content, badly edited, wacky thumbnails, and bad audio mixing. You cannot hear my voice. Speaking of my voice, listen to these copper pipes.
Hey guys, Panda Plays 206 here.
I made these videos for 2-ish years before taking a hiatus. I doubt any loyal pandas miss me, but nevertheless, my return was with Cuphead. These videos match my current style a bit better, nicer thumbnails, basic editing, and the introduction of my golden pipes. Being one of the first bosses in the game, these guys were no challenge at all. I'd spent these few years changing my vocal cords. If you want some of this action, join the Dukers University. Anyway, I'm pretty sure I was still Panda at this point, but I do remember having the original Guinea profile pic, meaning I was probably Duke Miser 19. I like to split my channel into two different eras, Panda and Duke. Panda was building the foundation, setting support for Duke to build off of. Other than some simple channel trivia, there's not much else to this. With tier 3 being completed, I can now hand it off to Snook for the second to last tier.
What's up? Now on to tier 4, and I'm Snook back with it, so you're stuck with me for all of tier 4. Let's get into it. Wacky Duker DMs. Over the course of owning a Discord, Duke has gotten some very strange DMs. Some of these range from innocent spam to straight up lunacy. While most of these could be jokes, it's honestly hard to tell with some of these people. Be sure to spam Duke so we can respond like this.
Get that ass.
Soupy/Vandercast. Back in ye old days of Duke's channel, right before he hit 1,000 subscribers, he met Waxy. You all knew this, but Waxy at the time was a part of a podcast called Vandercast, run by him, Soupy, and Lane. The trio embarked on a short-lived journey. What killed the podcast was Waxy inviting Duke on, without asking the others first. This led Soupy and Lane to say this. So, it was obvious the collaboration wouldn't have worked either way. This newfound friction would lead to Waxy leaving Vandercast and forming Lunacast with Duke. Soupy and Lane felt betrayed and basically started throwing some shade, calling Waxy a leech and saying he glazes Duke. This bitterness would further alienate Waxy from the duo and would lead to the full dissolvement of the Vandercast. In the end, both Duke and Soupy moved on with their respective channels. Lunacast thrived by interviewing future presidents, even though we didn't know the guys. Duke's EDP GIF, or GIF. I don't really care, but moving on to the worst Duke moment of all time. Context is important, but when it's thrown out the window, it creates some wacky clips. This infamous image emerged from Tony's Peak server. In said server was the very first Duke stan, Panda Gamer. This interesting character would spend most of his time in the server simping for Duke. Duke was dismissive, so this led Panda trying harder and harder to get his attention. These texts even weirded Tony out, so he eventually said, Duke is 16 and Panda is 13. Under said EDP GIF was Duke saying, not me, followed up by a Dutch GIF which said, this is me. Tony, being the comedian he is, cropped out the text following the EDP GIF, which led to this unfortunate picture. It really is quite the image. The server has since been disbanded or deleted. We don't know, as Tony hasn't mentioned it. It probably doesn't help that the active gamer deleted their account. Either way, this is truly one of the moments that lives rent-free in our minds. Brother Miser. Another entry that relates to Miser and Mancas. This time, the brothers, or more accurately, the brother. Duke has two brothers, one older and one younger. They don't show up much on the channel, but Duke has made offhand remarks about them. Little brother Miser is a known PvZ Garden Warfare gamer and likes to occasionally hog the Wi-Fi. Big Brother Miser was the original owner of the hunk of junk PS4 Duke uses to play RDO, and also likes hogging the Wi-Fi. So far, these have been only mentions of the brothers, but with future videos and streams, maybe they'll show up more often. Jack off. This iconic phrase was dropped in Arthur, Delete the Search History, Red Dead Redemption 2 Goofies. Our friend here, currently known as Bihan, yes, that Bihan, this guy goes on a tangent about his personal activities. To quote, I have Sailor Moon body pillow. I jack off to... I don't even know if I want to say this. You know what? We're going to skip that. Jack off.
Jack off.
This Taiwanese fellow added much needed energy to the dying stream. Pretty soon, the whole chat was in on it. For the rest of the stream, Bai Han rose to legend status and has stayed there since. He doesn't join often, but when he does, he makes sure to mention his libido. Chris Tuttle. The mini mystery that is Chris Tuttle is quite the interesting one. Chris Tuttle is a variety YouTuber, but most recently has been streaming RDO. His sessions are long ones, usually involving roleplay. Now, we're not here to judge, but it's what Duke did that earns this spot on the Iceberg. Duke joined the stream right in the middle of Chris's conversation with someone about a kangina. Duke decided to drop some Mortal Kombat 11 quotes, more specifically, Spawn. Now, Spawn is quite the potty mouth. Just listen to a few of these lines.
I'll turn you inside out ass first, clown. Time for assholes to die. Then shut the fuck up and fight.
Anyway, Duke typed up these quotes. Another important detail, Chris has a text-to-speech chat, meaning the Spawn quotes were said out loud. Duke was careful to censor curse words, but Amber saw things differently. To be fair, she did give Duke a warning before hiding him from the channel, so while not necessarily the most interesting ban, everything after truly was something. Duke was insulted and called an idiot with quite a few followers. While accurate, in this situation it seems to be a bit harsh. Afterwards, a few loyal Dukers joined to try and appeal Duke's ban, but his name was treated like Voldemort, never to be spoken of again. The loyalist Duke, Viber Blitzen, was banned like 3 times before deciding to give up. With these bans, it meant that the Tuttle saga was pretty much over. Help me. Yet another iconic moment embedded forever in the Luna lore. Here we go. Let me set the scene. During the greatest Black Ops 2 zombie stream of all time, Duke and Looney were pinned down by hordes of zombies. Trapped in the Juggernaut room, there were only a few words that could have exited their mouths. Looney started with this version of "Help me!" Duke pulled out the remix with "Help me!" The meme popped off with a Duker named Fern sending the video of this goober. From here on out, every stream that includes Looney as his loyal losers has the variation of "Help me." Hey guys, Panda Plays 206 here. The very first time Duke revealed my infantile voice, all of his previous videos included no commentary, but he grew the balls to finally say my piece.
Hey guys, Panda Plays 206 here. Playing Minecraft today.
Yeah, this wasn't the best quality in audio mixing, and it was pretty rough. The game is louder than him, still, it serves as the first time Duke has ever spoken on YouTube. It paved the way for his future commentary on videos. The next time he revealed his voice was in the very first Cuphead video, where he sounds much better and you can actually hear what he's saying.
How fast, not if I can get S ranks. But it doesn't matter. The first stage was easy because the only thing you had to do was jump over.
Though the awkward pauses stayed, still the original clip will remain a classic. Backstory of Guinea. The final piece of Luna lore on this tier list, and it concerns the origin of the infamous Guinea. Guinea the guinea pig, yes, real creative, was Duke's pet that unfortunately passed away a few years ago. Since then, she has become the icon of Duke Miser, her smoking a fat stogie and becoming a dangerous outlaw with a bounty of $10 million. But her true origins are unknown. We know she created the universe alongside her sister Luna, but exactly how it is up for debate. She has wrestled titans and managed to steal Luna's food without permission. For the past 1 quintillion years, she's been watching over her children and protecting them from the evil Digoran. Even when her mortal form has perished, her soul still guides us in our everyday lives. With that, Tier 4 has been completed. Stay tuned for the final tier as the deepest level of Luna's belly.
Tier 5. First one being the YouTube Brain Trust. The beginning of the bottom tier begins with an exaggerated tale. This server is basically the Hall of Justice of mainly Red Dead YouTubers, though there are other creators that do other forms of content. You got the Iceberg boys and the editors. To the average Duker, this seems like some sort of exclusive club that only the big boys get into. In reality, we just sent a few chats about our daily lives. With the most active member, good old Easy Man, leaving, it kinda got inactive. So sorry to crush Butterbuns' dream here, but it's not all that. It's not like we're talking about super secret collaborations that would break the internet. At most, we've had a few little dramas, like the one weirdo going off on Sean's mother. Korn almost fumbled a collab with a cheeky "is she typing," but overall a pretty chill server that doesn't live up to the hype. The mask. This iconic piece of clothing is what I use to cover my Sigma Giga Chad face. I bought this relic at my local thrift store and have given it a new purpose. The mask is apparently from the movie 300 and is called an Immortal Vacuum Form mask. They will be available in my YouTube store, be sure to purchase one for yourself. The mask was actually one out of 2 options. I had the option of this or the invisible mask. Here is a picture for reference. So it's either the MF Doom mask or nothing at all. Imagine if the 100 subscriber special had this instead. Both masks were the same price, so it's not like I missed out on anything. I prefer the current mask as the metal shine and grimace expression fit the cloak better. Fun fact, this mask inspired Miser. The original idea of Miser was an ex-cop that wore a cloak and hid his identity with a forged iron mask. I changed the idea once I realized I'd have to draw a detailed face every time he showed up on the page. Anyway, it truly is an interesting what if scenario, but soon the mask will be removed. Just remember, I'm here to see MF Guinea. Ryan. This is a very personal matter to the miser and refers to his very first beef. Back when I was a wee lad, I had a classmate named Ryan. This dude was the epitome of douchebag. He would harass the young Duke. He stood strange as if he was melting under the sun. He did this thing with his lip and looked like Hector. The worst part, this dude was balding. Man had a receding hairline at 10 years old. Just not a very nice person and not on the list of my favorite people. I mentioned this goober in my same old stream and during a fit of rage caused by the game's stupid level design. I was more passionate about this subject, but looking back on it now, I was driven by rage to rant about this guy. I have since moved on and no longer possess any enemies. Papa Miser's hot sauce. The story I alluded to earlier, and it relates to my father's infamous hot sauce bottle. Let me explain. So earlier this year, my dad unveiled a treasure that he'd been keeping safe for a while. A 22-year-old bottle of Louisiana hot sauce. This thing had been brewing in the bottle for quite a while. This thing is older than Little Brother Miser, and this thing is older than Duke. The ancient Duke, younger than spicy water. My dad cracked this thing open and tried it with some chicken. The anticipation was almost too much to handle. In the end, my dad said it tasted the same as the newer hot sauce. He even did a taste test with the old hot sauce and the new sauce. I tried some and honestly was disappointed. I expected something spicier or at least something well aged. It just tasted like a lemony zesty hot sauce. But to say that my father's hot sauce is a lame story is to disrespect his dedication. Over those 20 years, he's managed to keep this bottle sealed and unbroken even though we moved 3 times in those years. Recently, I've noticed another sealed bottle, so maybe Papa Miser plans to recreate this incredible feat. Chubby's Burger. Easily the most devastating moment on my guts, let's break this down. Before streaming Lunar tournaments, I ate a smash burger from a local restaurant named Chubby's. This burger was basically a regular cheeseburger smothered in this spicy cheese sauce. While eating this monster, I was also full from a previous meal, so I was quite literally stuffing my face here. I finished about half of the burger before throwing in the towel and calling it quits. I started my stream and was fine for a good while. A few rumbles here and there, but overall pretty good. But when I hit the 140 mark, I was hit with a pain train. My stomach felt like a brick in a dryer. I withheld the pain so I could end the stream properly, but chat encouraged me to use the John. The poop, it's too scary for me to talk about. I was clutching my sides, curling my toes, tensing my core the whole 6 yards. I used almost an entire roll of toilet paper here. Once I cleaned up and stumbled out of the bathroom, I felt tons lighter. I emerged a new man, one that survived the hardships of eating like I had free healthcare. Since this incident, the Chubby Burger has been a staple of this channel. It serves as an urban tale, one warning the youngins of eating dangerous meals. I do want to try this burger again on an empty stomach, but I'll save that for a subscriber special. Jonathan/Anthony. This is a conspiracy theory that many Dukers believe. My real name has been up for debate as people can't decide on what it is. Some people think it's Jonathan, some people think it's Anthony, and others think it's McLovin. Let's break it down. The Jonathan theory comes from my PS account I used to play RDO. This account belonged to Big Brother Miser's friend. This friend no longer was active on the game, so he handed it over to Brother Miser, who would gain more use out of it. This account was the one that was on the PS5, which is where I brought RDO on, before installing it on the PS4. Quite the convoluted tale, but there's the origin for Jonathan. Anthony Giblins is the one that appeared out of nowhere. In the server, there used to be this confession channel that was deleted quickly after it was made. I think it's obvious why. Anyway, one of those confessions was Duke's real name is Anthony Giblin. Since these were anonymous, I don't know who exposed me. Since then, this has been a little joke. It's not reoccurring as no one has really said anything about it. There was a role that said Anthony Reyes Jonathan Giblins before it was deleted. Not pointing any fingers. The Reyes part comes from my ethnicity, meaning this role is a true crossover. So far, no one has guessed my real name or has even come close to it, and I plan on keeping it like that for a good while. Alright, so this isn't on the Iceberg, but I thought I'd add it. Pet cam is pre-recorded. This conspiracy stems from the iconic camera focus on these goofies. The cam first showed up in my 6.8K Just Chatting stream, and has since stayed in the top left corner of my streams. The first pets to get their time in the limelight were the piggies. Occasionally Koopa got her time to shine, and recently the dogs are basking in the glory. The setup is different for each pet. For the guinea pigs, it's as simple as hooking up a camera in front of the cage. With Koopa, it's basically the same thing, but having someone hold the camera and move it back and forth. The newest addition to the collection is the elusive dog cam. These stinky creatures are very active and hard to catch on camera. My cameraman, good old Pops, has to stand there withstanding Estrella's claws of steel, Rocket's stinky aura surrounding him, and Fidu just being Fidu. My dad had to do all of this while having the unforgiving sun beam down on him, charring him, leaving him like Anakin. Everyone say go Papa Miser in the comments down below. So while it seems these pet cams are pre-recorded, in reality these cameras are just painstakingly live streamed. Don't undermine the work I put into these streams. Lost LunaCast episodes. The second to last entry, and it's a hefty one. I've mentioned LunaCast a few times, meaning you all know about the episodes. As of recording this, there are 9 episodes that are public. You see, technically there are 11 LunaCast episodes, but we privated 2 due to the content within them. The first private stream is the Fortnite LunaCast. The boys and I decided to have a little chill stream and run up some fort. Things went well at first, but Waxy then decided to show his face. I'll give a warning in case you want to forever imagine him as the moonshiner, but this was the first blunder. The next one was when Waxy decided to air out some guy's business. We'll call him F for the sake of privacy, but Waxy revealed that F yanks his chain and leaves the evidence all over his sheets. This would then lead to an hour-and-a-half conversation about semen and cum. Not exactly our best material. From this point on, the stream became your average 3 AM game sesh with the homies. You know, not something meant for the masses. We all synonymously agreed to private the stream for the sake of maintaining a pristine image. The next private stream was during the Sean Easy and Zonkers beef. Right in the middle of that era, we decided to fire back at Sean after he copy-struck Zonkers and made about 3 videos about them. We dumped out a bunch of evidence proving this man is homophobic and racist, but we were pretty emotional about this and someone took advantage of that. A fake account named Sean Easy World, watch the S instead of the Z, sent this golden chat. In the heat of the moment, we all thought we just reeled him in. Waxy and Mason received an anonymous tip about a fake Sean being in chat, but for some reason they decided not to share this info. During the post-rage clarity, we finally realized the amount of fake Seans in chat. Easily the most embarrassing moment for LunaCast, we agreed to private the stream to save us any more humiliation. With our 9th episode seemingly breaking this trend, we can only hope we learned our lesson. Tony finding Duke's IRL friend. The final entry and the one that actually fits the Iceberg setting. During the summer, more specifically July, I get a strange ping from our friend Tony Peak. Duke, who is A? I'm censoring the name so no one else finds him. Immediately reading this, I thought Tony was messing with me, so I just say I don't know who it is. But finally, Tony starts saying some things that concern me. He reposts all your vids and looked at my account. He has your YouTube linked in all of his accounts. I tried playing this off by calling him a super fan glazer, but in reality, A has always been supportive of my YouTube channel. He'll promote my early vids, but during the summer we grew apart due to us being busy. Back to Tony, he came up with 3 theories. 1. Duke Miser is A. 2. A is a friend of Duke Miser. 3. Duke Miser's Jonathan, meaning A really is a superfan. Theory 2 is the correct one, but Tony didn't seem to believe me. He truly thought I was A, and even threatened a face reveal if I didn't do it myself. At this point he was going too far, as the last thing I wanted was my friend's face being plastered all over the server and people saying it's me. He apologized, but still. Not to point the finger, but I was planning on doing a face reveal at this point. During this, I had a 7K, meaning the 10K special would have been a face reveal. But this whole situation made me rethink it, and now I don't know when I will do one. This doesn't mean to harass Tony, as he was just joking. Yes, he took it a little too far, but he recognized his mistake and apologized. Since there's nowhere else to put this, Looney has had his own little mini docs incident. Butter Buns has a dangerous curiosity one day and decided to snoop around Instagram looking for Looney's Insta. He found it, and also found his real name. In a moment of pure genius, he decided to post a discovery in the very active general. It was deleted soon after, but just yikes. Privacy is truly something you lose when you decide to form a community. That ends tier 5, which also ends the breakdown of this iceberg. Quite the video, but hope you all enjoyed it. Thanks to Jarrell, Lumbago, and of course Snook for helping me make this beast. Without them, who knows when this video would have come out. Suggest anything else you guys want to see down below, but for now that's everything. This has been the Duke Iceberg, 5 tiers and about 40 entries. If you're interested in the Iceberg format, I recommend Snook's channel. Though just remember to unsubscribe if you're already subscribed. Duke Society needs to be above Snook Scholar. But with the biggest yap sesh since the first LunaCast done, I can now say goodbye and tell you all to stay safe. If you tune into one of my streams, you'll most likely see a comment or two about me being Mexican. Voice crack. You'll most likely see a comment of... If you tune into one of my... we'll just restart. The thing with this Swiss man is he was asleep by the when... No. The origin of these names I can't exactly remember, but I do know that... El que... El que... There we go. Sorry. Mic check 212. All right. La máscara. La máscara. Diddly dum. Diddly dum. Diddly dum. Diddly dum. Where's my script? There it is. All right. Oh, I messed up anyway. Papa Miser hot sauce. My dad cracked this thing open and tried it with some chicken. The end to pitch, then I hit the 140 mark. I was hit with a pain train. It serves as an urban tale, one warning the youngins of eating. It serves as a... I do want to try this stomach again on an empty stomach.